Angeles Kings are indeed the kings of the National Hockey League. They are the 2012 Stanley Cup champions.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another post-game live here on Dime Dropper for the 2023-24 season. Before we get started, you already know the drill. Make sure you are subscribed on YouTube. That's where I want you to be. If you're watching on Twitter, please go to my YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed at Dime Dropper on YouTube. Hit the notification bell so you know every single time I post a video of any sort. And follow your boy on social media at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Dime Dropper Pod. We are live from Los Angeles, where we had 2 games for our home teams tonight. Technically, if you want to get broad, Kings and the Dodgers played. So we'll talk about everyone tonight because I was tapped into everyone as we are at the best time of the year, really, for LA sports. Got the Dodgers back in full effect, and we got potentially 3 teams at the Staples Center getting postseason action. But one of them's making it a little difficult. We're going to be talking about that after we talk about Clippers and Suns. Now, before I continue with anything, I want to tell everyone, I'm going to keep the Twitter one up tonight, but I always prefer people to come to YouTube because that is where I make more bread and I want my 10,000 subscribers. So please come to YouTube. I posted the link on my Twitter page. Please go there. If you're on Twitter, I would really appreciate if you come to YouTube. I'll read your comments at the end. So anyway, let's get right into it tonight, like the dome. Clippers, Suns. Honestly, before we get into the specifics of the game, let's just talk about the obvious elephant in the room. Russell Goatbrook, baby. This only makes me look better. People really think that Russell Westbrook that comes off the bench is the Russell Westbrook that is still there left in the tank. Absolutely not. And people saying that, I always cringed earlier in the season when everybody was saying, you know, the people that were pro Harden trade, of course, were saying this is the perfect role for Russ, coming in off the bench for some spot minutes to give a little energy and then go to the bench. I don't think that is. I think the best role for Russell Westbrook was the role that we initially had him in when we got him, which was starting point guard for a team with 2 stars on it, 2 stars that help him just as much, if not more than he helps them, in the sense that because they are mid-range killers, even when the defense often loads up off of them, they can still hit shots over the top, and they work quickly off the catch, in particular Paul George. And when you work quickly off the catch, Russ making that initial pass, someone like Norman Powell as well, Russ making that initial pass, and they get right into their scoring motion. You know, because everybody grills Russ for not being able to shoot and teams not respecting him and stuff like that. But when Russ is making, you got to put some pressure on the pass, right? So when he makes a pass and someone's working quickly off the catch, his defender can't get there in time. So the personnel around him with the Clippers just favors him better than the Lakers. And it's, again, for me, tonight reminded me of, you know, I feel like a terrible fan. I really feel like a terrible fan, but I've been saying all season, the wins haven't felt as sweet and the losses haven't felt as sour. Because when we got James Harden, bro, that was just like, that hurt me so bad. Because part of why it hurt me so bad is because you're replacing, like, I've never had a player that I rooted for away from the Clippers come to the Clippers. Like, when I mean rooted for, I mean like I actually wanted him to win playoff series because I don't give a shit really about other teams. You know, I'm a Clipper fan through and through, and everybody else, I just love watching basketball. But when KD left the Thunder, I was really rooting for Russ because I've obviously been a Russ fan since UCLA. But the KD fans were starting to annoy me because they would always devalue what Russ meant to the team. And in 2013, when Russ got hurt by Pat Bev and tore his meniscus, I thought that was blatantly obvious how much he meant to the team. So I was a big Russ fan in those days. We got him on our team. And, of course, I was anti-getting Russ. I was tricked into thinking that he wasn't that great at basketball anymore when he played for the Lakers because that was just a terrible situation for him, and he had checked out. And it was much worse than it looked. Just let me tell you that. From what I heard from somebody that got to talk to somebody that was actually in the building, it was pretty bad. So we get Russ. We give him this role. He's rejuvenated. And I get to now support one of my favorite players ever on my team. It's like a dream come true because I rooted for this guy's success when he wasn't on the Clippers. Now his success and my team's success go hand in hand. And then we get my least favorite star to watch hoop and replace him. And I really am skeptical of both of them being starting point guards in a championship team. Sorry to the Russ fans. I am skeptical of both of them being a starting point guard to a championship team, but I don't know what it is. I just would ride or die with Russ always. And tonight's you see the differences. And I'm not saying we're a better team with Russ. I'm not saying that at all, because James Harden's had a great season. He really has had a great season. He's been our third best player this season. For a second, he was arguably the second best player for us in the season, but I think he ended up being the third best player for us this season. We would not be 51 and 28 without him. But Russell Westbrook, to me, he just does certain things, intangible things, that I think might translate better to championship basketball. That doesn't mean that he's done better in the playoffs than James Harden. That means that, in my personal opinion, certain things that he does translate better to championship basketball. Let's start with the first quarter. I mean, the Phoenix Suns were uncharacteristically missing a ton of shots. Devin Booker, I don't know who that was tonight. Devin Booker, to me, and I'm an unpopular opinion. This is an unpopular opinion that I have, but to me, he's been a top 10 player in the league for like 3-4 years. He's really been that great to me. Regular season and playoffs combined, to me, he's really been that great. This game, he was a complete ghost. He was awful, missing layups, looked like he didn't even care. I was like, what the fuck is this? Kevin Durant was missing everything, by the way. The whole team, the whole Phoenix Suns team, the Buns, were just missing everything in the first quarter. Bradley Beal was a complete ghost, but you got to credit the Clipper defense. And you know who the catalyst was? Russell Goatbrook. Because the thing about him is, when we play against the Phoenix Buns, he's got a vendetta. He wants to guard KD. He always gets up for that matchup. But here's what I also want to say. I always have believed, and this is part of the reason why I was also trusting in the team before we traded for Harden, is I believe that Russell Westbrook can still be great as the starting point guard. I still believe that he can, when he gets extended minutes, be much better than people think, like truly, because we have the right personnel around him. So I don't know. This only makes me look better. And anybody that pushes that, obviously the Russ stands are going to push that, makes them look better. Because the thing is, James has looked old of late. Now, he has played better the last couple of games, which is a very encouraging sign. But the played better is mostly he's making his threes again, and he was looking to be more aggressive. But he wasn't necessarily shooting that great. I just think we'll see what he does against good defenses. But the thing about Russ is he doesn't shoot well oftentimes, even though he's been not super inefficient this year. But he has bad shooting games fairly frequently. He's going to turn the ball over a lot. That's one thing I will say. If we did have Russ as starting point guard, we would have turned the ball over a lot more than with Harden. James, I think, for how much he turns the ball over, he still takes care of it for how many high-risk passes he throws. But what Russ does is he gives you more defensive intensity. And when he's actually getting extended minutes, he gives you a lot more effort defensively. And that you could hold that against him. You could say, like, things need to go his way for him to be his best. And, absolutely. But in the sense, or in James Harden's case, we've catered a lot to him. Russell Westbrook, clearly, to get the best out of him, you have to cater a lot to him as well. The thing is, Russ has been very professional. He's taken the hit. James Harden, in my opinion, I think James Harden is still better than Russ. I'm sorry, Russ fans, but I would rather have Russell Westbrook on my basketball team. Everybody's going to be saying, what the fuck does that mean? It means what it means. My personal opinion, the way I coach basketball, the way I believe the game, I don't want to say should be played because that sounds ridiculous, but like, I just like the way Russell Westbrook competes. I'm going to put it that. Let's just leave it at that. I like the way he competes. The way he was getting to the passing lanes early on in the game was making a huge difference. He also pushed his pace for us. Everything was just quicker. The movement of the ball was quicker. Our defensive rotations quicker. Our transition from defense to offense. The way he crashes the glass and then he just pushes. And that favors Terrence Mann a lot. That's one thing people just don't want to talk about, is that Terrence Mann has been hindered by the fact that we have played more of a half-court game. Terrence Mann is great when he's going downhill. He gets downhill, he does that little stiff arm, goes into your chest, layup with the right hand, or that little lift he does, 1-2, layup with the right hand. I mean, we've slowed down the pace, and it's kind of hurt him. But I just love the zip that we were moving the ball with in the first quarter. Paul George hit a transition 3. We were up 9-0. Starting matchups, Russell Westbrook on KD, Terrence Mann on D-Book, PG on Bradley Beal, Zoo on Drew Eubanks. So no Nurkic. Also, obviously, no Kawhi. My prediction is he comes back tomorrow. We shall see. If not tomorrow, last 2 games. If he doesn't come back against Utah, I'll be a little concerned. James Harden, he was out with a foot injury and he was questionable. He actually traveled with the team. Am I concerned about that? Not really, but not really. I mean, Russell Westbrook is just so fun to root for, man. I got my joy back tonight. I was actually getting nervous again. I was, yelling when we made shots. I didn't feel like I was just covering the team. It felt like I was me again. It's crazy how much this whole experience has shown me how much I dislike the way James Harden plays basketball. It's not even personal. I have nothing against the guy personally. I just don't like the way he plays ball. And here's the thing. People might say he's helped your team. I just don't believe we're going to win with him, dude. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Sorry to burst the bubble. I just don't believe we're going to win with him unless we're not married to him completely. If he's shit in the bed and we take him out and go with Russ and we live with the results, or even go with neither of them on the court and go with like a total wing lineup with Zoo out there, who knows? Who knows what we could go to in the playoffs? And I'm okay with it. It's just I just don't trust that guy at all because I watch playoff basketball. I know it's a different situation, but hey, man, my opinion. Russell Westbrook. Oof. Yeah, he was everywhere. Making every single pass he made, it felt like everyone scored. Just felt like everything he was touching was turned into gold in that first half. Zoo, by the way, some of the seals he had down the court, running the floor, getting a deep seal. When anybody outside of Eubanks was guarding him, it was just barbecue. And he was finishing strong. And I love the way Zoo's looked lately. I think it's safe to say that he's back. If it's a Zubats is back, ladies and gentlemen. And one thing I'll say, okay, Russ is not near the pick and roll of James Harden, and that gives Zoo a lot of easy baskets. But the one thing I will say is because Russell Westbrook is not as good of a scorer and creator than James Harden, he looks to dump it down to Zoo more, which I think is good for Zoo and his confidence. So you saw some good entry passes from Russ to Zoo early on in the game. And then Paul George, he was getting off to a good start, hitting contested shots. That one over KD in the left corner, when he's on, he is just ridiculous. And right now he's on. He's playing at such a high level at the perfect time. Podcast B. I guess me so hyped because it's almost that time, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to be in the building. We will be there no matter what. You already know how it is, baby. Playoff basketball. Playoffs. Let's fucking go. Yes, sir. Zoo was destroying these puny-ass buns. Weak-ass Suns in the first half. Second half was a different story. We'll get to that. But in the first quarter, they were missing everything. KD missed 2 free throws. I don't know when the last time Kevin Durant has missed 2 free throws was. It was insane. This dude Book was missing everything. And also, Drew Eubanks was hedging on Paul George on the pick and roll. So we were getting Zubats in the short roll and in certain situations. And again, one thing I like about the Terrence Mann-Russ connection is that when Russ is going to the rim and defenders are helping off of Terrence, that pass from Russ to Terrence with Terrence cutting baseline is from a short distance. So that becomes more of a go-to kind of thing where finding Russ or Terrence on that baseline, you don't have as far of a pass to make. And Russ, he's always looking for that. He loves cutters. We know that. So Terrence was great playing with pace. We were up 37-10 after one. Let's look at some of the stats in that first quarter. Phoenix shot 10.5% from the field in the first quarter. Comedy. We shot 65% from the field in the first quarter. PG had 13. Terrence had 7. Zoo had 7. And Russ had 6, 5, and 4 to go along with 2 steals on 3 for 4 shooting. It was just a dream start. Again, by the way, if you are watching on Twitter, it says 74 people on there. Appreciate you. I would rather you guys be watching on YouTube. I posted the link on my Twitter. It really helps if you watch on YouTube. I want to get to 10,000 subscribers, and I read those comments quicker. And you can send a super chat. Super chats are turned on if you want to drop $1 or a dime. If you want me to read something right now, mid-live, please send a super chat. Also, any donation helps. You already know. Putting on the grind. Watched both games tonight. Doing this for y'all. And I have to do Locked On Clippers after this. If you haven't subscribed to Locked On Clippers, please do as well. 5 days a week, Clipper content on the Locked On Podcast Network. I do that but I got to do that tonight as well. So I'm going to be up till like 3 in the morning again. So always, anything helps for your boy. So come to you too. Now, appreciate it. 113 people on the live. It's amazing. And 193 overall. Let's talk about the second quarter. Somebody who I thought was fantastic in this game, the Brewmaster, Amir Coffey. Quick 6 points in the beginning of the second quarter, knocking down threes and playing great D. Forced a couple of misses on KD. And I just thought, when you put Russ in that starting lineup, you have so much activity out there defensively. You have Terrence flying around. You have Russ flying around. You have Paul George's, when he's locked in, which he has been recently, his length and size. And then Zubats, he was still in drop coverage, but doing such a good job protecting the rim. And the Suns with with Devin Booker, KD, and Beal, they're more of stop and pop guys. They don't always get all the way to the basket. They don't always get 2 feet in the paint. And when they do, they're not high flyers, so to speak. So they're not just driving into the big man. They're not going to put you on a poster. Ivica Zubats was doing a great job protecting the rim in that first half. And Amir Coffey, Terrence Mann, Russ. Again, it helped Terrence Mann because he has not played great defense the last 2 months. But when Russ is out there, just another athlete, another body, someone that can guard point of attack as well, it puts Terrence Mann closer into the position that he needs to be in for me in a championship team's role, which is just one of your good point of attack defenders, not the main guy that's guarding the best player every night. But tonight, we got away with it because Devin Booker just decided to be buns. Now, Bones Highland came in. I honestly didn't think Bones had a very good game, but in the first half, he had a stretch where he had 7 points, and I thought he was putting the ball in the basket. There was one time Drew Eubanks got switched out onto him, and he just pulled up for 3 over him. But it was mainly the Russell Westbrook show. I mean, he was just everywhere in that first half, everywhere. And on the flip side, it was the worst I've seen Devin Booker play. But the second quarter just felt like we were kind of trading baskets in the second half of it. But my standouts were really Terrence, Russ, Amir, and Zoo, just working super hard. And we were up by 30 at the half. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. 66 to 40. Wait, to 33. Yeah, 30. We doubled them up. 66 to 33 at the half. Amazing. I want to check Russell Westbrook's stats at halftime. Let's see. Russ had 9 points, 8 rebounds, and 12 assists at half. I mean, that's ridiculous. Everything he was touching was turned into gold. And we just look so much faster, just less old and slow, which is exactly what we needed. And I thought was honestly, that's what Russ showed me towards the end of last season was like, he helps us with our issue, rim pressure, athleticism. And then we went away from it for small game James. No, I'm just kidding. We'll see. Renaissance TV, appreciate you, man. Said the players ride for Russ so hard. It's pretty noticeable while watching games. We've seen that last year in the playoffs. I think that's the difference between Russ and Harden starting. You know what's interesting too is, appreciate you, Renaissance TV. You know what the thing is? Oh, there's another super chat as well. I'm sorry. I may have skipped out on that. Love the content. Keep it up, and Eid Mubarak. Thank you, Eid Mubarak to you as well. Is that a Canadian dollar? Appreciate you. But hey, I'll say this. There's so much more noise, it feels like, on the court when we have Russ. It's very interesting. You can just hear them talking more. It's more emotion, more screaming. And I just love that. It's just my style. That's me. I just love that. But anyway, the Harden fans are going to hate me watching this video. They're going to be like, oh my God, shut the fuck up, you piece of shit. It's like, I feel you, man. It's just life is weird. It happens in weird ways where situations like this happen. But it's been never a dull moment though, right? Anyway, yeah, up 33 at the half. I was feeling great. Third quarter, took our foot off the gas. Starts out with an 8-0 run for the Suns. And I don't know what Frank Vogel said at halftime, but they came out with a little bit more pride in that second half, because in the first half, I was like, man, these dudes look like they're quitting. Like, this is just a joke. The fans are booing, making sarcastic cheers when they made shots or went to the free throw line and scored for the first time in a minute. Like, it was bad. It felt like Game 7 against Dallas for a while, just with much less at stake. But we started going cold in the beginning of the third, and the Suns started getting out in transition. We're cross-matched, get downhill on us. But Russell Westbrook, for a second in that third, weathered the storm just a bit, got his triple-double midway through the third quarter. So it's funny because there was a tweet I saw that this would be the first season he hadn't gotten a triple-double since, like, I don't know, maybe his rookie season or something. One of my mods, if you're in here, can you check that? What was the last season Russ didn't get a triple-double? Because he hadn't gotten one this season. The first time he starts since the game that we took him out of the starting lineup, I believe that was against the Denver Nuggets on the road. He gets a triple-double in halfway through the third quarter against the playoff team. Just insane. Just shows you what he can still do and how we have limited him this season. We have limited him. So I will say this. The rest of the game was a small ball game. We went with a small lineup of Russ, Terrence, Amir, PG, and Bones, and it did not work. We were just getting scored on left and right. And then they went with KD at the 5. So we weren't able to really stay in front of the ball. We weren't scoring offensively because Paul George was being guarded by KD a lot. And he wasn't really being aggressive throughout the game the first 3 quarters. He was good in the first quarter, but let me check how many points he had in the second. Second quarter, he had no points, right? And in the third quarter, he had 2 points. So for 2 quarters, he only had 2 points, and he was 1 for 6 in those 2 quarters. And this is in a game that we don't have James Harden or Kawhi. So that tells you how, not aggressive he was. And that's because KD was guarding him for me. And it's a good guy to guard Paul George because Paul usually has the size advantage. You can just shoot over the top, but Kevin Durant is the Mr. shoot over the top. So it becomes more difficult, but he still had some incredible shots over KD, even with that being said. But when the Suns went small, they gave us a taste of what we used to do to teams. You started to see Beal, who was a complete ghost for so long in the game. Let me see how many points Bradley Beal had in the first half. Gee, I did not notice him at all. 2 points, 0 for 4. It didn't feel like we were playing against a third star at all. But in the third quarter, he got more aggressive and had 7 points, and the team just got more aggressive. The funny part is they didn't even shoot that well in the third quarter. So, yeah, I will say this, though, Russ, he started falling off a bit, started to get a little bit – you started to see the bad of Russ, basically. Going too fast, missing layups, turning it over, some moments of bad transition D. In the third quarter, Russ played the entire thing, and so did Terrence. And Russ was 2 for 9 in the quarter with 2 turnovers. He did have 5 boards and 3 assists, but it was not a great quarter for him at all. It was not a very good quarter for the team. We got outscored 35-18. Thank God we were up by so much because it didn't end up being that detrimental in the long run, given that we still won the game. But Bones Highland, I thought he was ass offensively in the second half. Just dribbling a lot, not really going anywhere. PG wasn't, as I said, he wasn't really being aggressive, wasn't really creating advantages. And of course, with Russ, they're going to go under the screen. And one thing I don't like that Russ does is that Euro when he's going downhill, and then the smart teams will stay home and he's caught in the air. He's going to have to put that up off that Euro because when he passes out, he'll get a turnover passing to that strong side corner. When they're staying home, that's an easy steal. PG was not getting any calls, by the way. It was some of the calls that just they let go were ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous. Zubats in the fourth quarter, he was in the game against the small ball lineup that the Suns had with Royce O'Neal at the 5 and then KD at the 5. And the Suns started getting hot from 3, and we couldn't stay in front of the ball. Terrence Mann, I've been saying that he hasn't had a good defensive game in 2 months. Well, he didn't end up having a good one in this one. He had a good half. He hasn't been able, in my opinion, to put together 2 good defensive halves. And we didn't put up 2 good defensive halves, in my opinion. We allowed 59 points in the second half, which is not that much for today's game. But I don't know. It just felt like the defensive intensity really fell off. And I mean, that's normal when you're up by 33 points and you know the home team's going to make a run. But it just got a little too close for comfort. Granted, no Kawhi, no James Harden, but it still was a little too close for comfort. And Russ has to take better care of the ball. Point blank, end of story. Paul George needs to be more aggressive in those situations. And then speaking of taking care of the ball, Paul George had 4 turnovers in the fourth quarter alone. One of them, though, was a foul where he was being hand checked blatantly. And when he was making a pass, he got hit on the arm. I believe it was Grayson Allen. They didn't call anything. That was part of 2 straight turnovers for him. And speaking of Grayson Allen, we were very thankful that he was so cold from 3 because this guy leads the league in 3-point percentage. He had so many decent looks and nothing fell for him in the game. Grayson Allen overall went, 0 for 8 from 3. My God. 3 for 13 for the game. 9 points. You'll take that all day long. Oof. But yeah, they got it close. They got the stadium going. And here's the thing. We kept Zubats in at first against the small ball lineup, right? So the obvious advantage is Zubats in the post. Me, I'm a big advocate of Zubats in the post. Throw him the ball. He has good post game. He has a great right-hand jump hook. Let's see him take advantage of a smaller guy. He had the ball against Bradley Beal. He had chances against Royce O'Neal. One, I don't feel like our players were super willing to give it to him in the second half. But he was getting pushed out a little too far by their guards and wings. He needs to be a little bit stronger and duck in. And Jim Jackson was doing a good job of explaining it in commentary. Fuck, my bad, guys. Let me drink this water real quick. Jim Jackson was doing a good job explaining in commentary how the ball was kind of sticking on one side of the floor. And any good defense, you want to move the ball to both sides of the half court to beat it. And when you move the ball to both sides of the half court, and then you get Zoo kind of coming in from across the key, getting better post position, and just kind of working the angles, working the passing angles, trying to give his players, his teammates, a better angle to pass, larger windows. And he didn't do a very good job of that. And when we did give him the ball, his working out of doubles was a little slow. And mind you, the point of the Suns defense and going small is they can switch everything. And because they're quicker, they can get out to the perimeter faster, run you off the line faster, and make you speed up. So Ty, he didn't really persist with Zoo. He ended up going and matching that small ball lineup with a lineup of Amir Coffey, Terrence Mann, Russ, PG, and Norm. And I will say the non-Russ minutes did not do very well in that fourth quarter. It was 76-86. I was starting to get nervous. Amir Coffey then hits a huge three. This is right before Russ comes back in the game. But Amir Coffey hits a huge three off a PG kick out. And one thing I have to say, Paul George wasn't getting calls to start that fourth quarter, basically the whole second half. And then last 8 minutes, he got so much more aggressive, starting to go to the basket way more. I'm so happy when I see Paul George get aggressive. It's just a different level that he unlocks in his game. And the fact that we're starting to see that as the playoffs get closer and closer, that's amazing. That gets me feeling more confident. Playoff P, baby. Anyway. Then there was the Norm Powell, Royce O'Neal scuffle. By the way, Norm didn't even have a great shooting night in this one, but I would be lying if I said that his presence was not needed because his gravity, the way he comes off of screens, the way he curls, his timely buckets, he had the highest plus minus of any Clipper tonight, and that's not coincidental. I mean, he just is a positive on the floor. Our best lineups always involve him. He only had 10 points in this game, but he did have 5 rebounds, only had 1 turnover, but he shot 33% from the field, 4 for 12. However, 50% from 3, 2 for 4, a rare game where he didn't get to the line at all and played 33 minutes. By the way, second straight game for us where we shot 100% from the line, 11 for 11. You got to love that. So, big time there. Paul George, moral of the story. Suns cut it to 7 because nobody could stay in front of the ball. Russ was missing shots. But the way we closed the game was that Paul George got aggressive. He hit that beautiful step back against Grayson Allen on the right elbow. And after that, when we came off a timeout. The Suns started doubling. Mind you, this is still small ball versus small ball. Suns started doubling, and the play that really ended it for me was Russell Westbrook. I believe it was in a short. He just cut when Paul got doubled. They doubled off of Russ. He dove to the basket, scored, and that was basically it. And we got one of my favorite wins of the season, 105-92. We lost both quarters in the second half, 24-21 in the fourth in favor of Phoenix, but we got the win. Go to 3-0 against these bunsy ass boys. The Suns are done at home this season, 25-16 home record. That's ass. And the funny part is that crowd is pretty loud. That building is packed every night. Shame on them. 25-16. We finished with a 2016-15 road record. We got a better road record than you have a home record, Phoenix. And we're 3-0 against you. And you've been so bad from us twice. We would kick your ass once and for all. I really wish we were playing Phoenix. That'd be my dream. And this game was an outlier shooting game for Book and KD. I believe so, absolutely. But come on, we're better than them. We've been better than them all season. We have a better supporting cast. We have a better big man. We have a better third star. We got a better first star. And when he feels like it, we have a better second star. But I'm not going to say Paul's better than Book. I don't think he has been the last couple of years. But I'm taking Kawhi over KD, even though KD's been awesome this year. I'm definitely taking Harden over Beal. Easy. And we got Russ. So fuck the Suns, dude. Can't stand them. Let's talk about their line. Lost at 105-92. EJ, good to see our good friend Eric Gordon. He had 11 points off the bench, 4 for 9 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3 in 29 minutes. Royce O'Neal, an absolute scrub. No, I'm just kidding. He's a solid role player, but fuck that dude. I can't stand him. I can't stand those fools that played for the Utah Trash. I can't stand them. He had a double-double, though. 10 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block. A very, very good addition for this Phoenix Suns team, I have to say. But he shot 30% from the field, 3 for 10, 2 for 7 from 3. Drew Eubanks, not a good big man. Played only 12 minutes and was a minus 20, 6 points and 5 rebounds on 3 for 6 shooting. Had 3 buckets on the roll. He's weak. He's a backup, though. No Nurkic. And then Grayson Allen, I talked about his stat line, just bricked everything. Then you had Bradley Beal, who had 19 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists, 5 blocks. What the hell? That's insane. Bradley Beal had 5 blocks, 2 turnovers. I thought he woke up in the second half, but I don't know where that was in the first half. I don't know if it's Frank Vogel not calling plays to him or just him not being aggressive. I don't know what that was all about. They didn't look for him. It was weird. Bradley Beal just not having the ball at all like that. But 6 for 13 for Beal. 17 of his 19 points came in the second half. 1 for 2 from 3, 6 for 6 from the line. Devin Booker, Jesus Christ. 12 points, 3 boards, 5 dimes, 2 steals, 3 turnovers, 1 for 11 from the field. One of Devin Booker's old issues used to be, I shouldn't say issues, but like flaws, was sometimes he would drive and he could go all the way. He would stop for the pull up and kind of avoid the contact. And he still does it sometimes. And he was doing it in this game. The best Devin Booker is the one we saw last playoffs, where he was just being super aggressive. And of course, stopping on dime sometimes, but going downhill, being really aggressive. And he wasn't really doing that in this game at all. Sorry, guys. Trudging through. Laker fans, sorry. We're going to get to you guys in a second. And any Warriors fans in here. Yeah, but Devin Booker, 1 for 11, 0 for 4 from 3, 10 for 11 from the line. I think he'll be fine in the playoffs. But if there's any Suns fans watching, let me know how he's been this season. Or should I say lately? Kevin Durant, 21 points, just 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 turnover on 8 for 22 shooting, 2 for 5 from 3, 3 for 5 from the line in 40 minutes. He wasn't good. They shot 34% from the field, 23% from deep, but they shot 17 more free throws than us, 24 for 28, 86% from the line. KD took a couple of hard falls, but Clippers only an 8-man rotation in this one. And by the way, Daniel Tice was available, and we went with Mason Plumlee again. So Ty Lue showing that I don't know what to say. We'll see what happens in the playoffs. I like Tice better. Mason only played 8 minutes, only played in the first half. 2 points, both from the line, didn't get a shot up in 8 minutes. Bones Highland played 17 minutes. Don't think he was great. 7 points, 9 rebounds for Bones, though. Wow. 2 assists, no turnovers. You'll take that. 3 for 9 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, and just a lot of over dribbling and not very good defensively in this one. Amir Coffey, 34 minutes. I thought he was huge. 13 points, 4 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, 0 turnovers, 4 for 11 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3. And again, fast pace also favors the Brewmaster. Then the starters. Zoo played the least of the 5 with 28 minutes. I thought he was excellent. 17 points, 13 rebounds. I just want to see him be better about posting up one-on-one because it actually feels like we're starting to look for him finally after all these years in the post recently. He needs to be aggressive against that. And I noticed, I watched some Dallas Maverick tape today on playback. Daniel Gafford, he's a good rim protector. With Sabonis, I was watching them play the Kings, and he was getting what he wanted at the rim. So you got to be physical with him. And Zubats is 2 inches taller than him. I think he could still get some jump hooks over Gafford. So that would be something we could try to exploit if we play them. But let's talk about Norm Powell. All right, actually, no, I already did. Let's talk about Terrence Mann. What a solid game for him. Double-double. 17 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist. That's the man I know. 2 turnovers, 8 for 10 from the field, 1 for 1 from 3, 80%. You just got to get Terrence going downhill. Good cuts in this game. Played 38 minutes. The man for the big occasion. He's rounded into form as well, getting ready for what he does best, play well in the playoffs. That's why we love him so damn much. He's going to prove why he was Mr. Untouchable very soon, I hope. You know a guy that really unlocks that? Mr. Goatbrook, who was the easy player of the game in this one. 16 points, 15 boards, 15 dimes, 2 steals. Too many turnovers, though. But I will take a 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. 5 turnovers, 7 for 17 from the field. Did I have much of a problem with his shot selection? Maybe 1 or 2, but not much for the most part. 7 for 17, 2 for 4 from 3. How about that? No free throws, which was a little bit ridiculous. And then you had Paul George. 23 points, 7 boards, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 6 turnovers is way too much. 7 for 15 from the field, so he actually shot pretty well. And 3 for 5 from 3 and 6 for 6 from the line. In the fourth quarter, PG had 8 points. He's closed games really well recently. It was 2 for 2 in the quarter, and we get a big win. 51-28. You know what this means now. We tie the 2017 Clippers for the 5th best record in Clipper history. Can we take sole possession of the 5th best record in Clipper history? I think we will. We've won 7 out of our last 8 games. Would I say that we're back? Not quite. We don't have Kawhi Leonard, but we're playing good ball. The version of us that really matters is when we have Kawhi Leonard. If Kawhi Leonard's not healthy 100%, and I still believe he'll be ready for the playoffs, but if we don't have Kawhi, it means nothing. But it is good that we're winning again. I wouldn't say we are playing our best ball, though. With 7-1 in the last 8, I think we could easily end it by saying we were 10 wins out of our last 11. I really do. And that always sounds good because Phoenix again tomorrow at home. I won't be there, by the way. I think we can win that. They might be pissed, though, about this game. We'll see. We'll see who plays. I would love if Kawhi came back. I think we should play Kawhi and James and then rest Paul George. I think he's been playing a lot, especially with the game against Cleveland the other day. Played the whole second half. We should rest him. He's been playing so well. Just let him play against Utah and Houston at the end of the season. That'd be great. It's going to be crazy. So that would be good to end the season like that. One more win, and we are in sole possession of the 5th best record in Clipper history. The 4th best record is 53-29 from the 2016 Clips. We could get 54-28. That'd be a really good record. If you finish with the 4th seed with a 54-28 record, that means the West was really, really good. But let's talk about the Lakers now. Laker girls. All right. The Lakers against the Warriors. This game was absolutely massive. Okay. Absolutely massive. By the way, if you're on Twitter, I see 153 people on Twitter. I would really prefer if you went to YouTube. The link is on my Twitter. That's where I make more of my money. That's where I'll check the comments quicker. And you can throw some super chats. So I'll read your comment right away. YouTube is the wave. I want you to all subscribe. I need 10,000 subscribers really bad. Okay. So go to the YouTube. Now, Laker time. This was a huge game. Lakers and Warriors are both guaranteed to finish top 10, but that who's hosting that game is in question. And it's not even guaranteed to be that game, Warriors Lakers. It can move up into 7 or 8. And they got some help with Phoenix losing and also with Sacramento losing. So this was a huge one. Now we hear a couple hours before the game that Anthony Davis getting poked in the eye against the Timberwolves. And by the way, we talked about all the last week of games with Lakers and Clippers. Any games that I haven't done lives on this channel this season. For Clippers, I've done Locked On Clippers, but I've also recapped the game briefly on Basketball and Figueroa every single week with Edwin. So we've covered every game this season. One of us at least that said something about every Laker Clipper game this season throughout the season. So make sure you check out those episodes. I just released a new one today, so check that out. It's available on wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. So the Lakers, no AD after losing against that game, after that loss against Minnesota, and he got poked in the eye. They said he had a headache. I think that's part of it, coming from the eye injury. AD's got to start wearing goggles, as Edwin said on the podcast. He needs to start wearing goggles, but they were missing him in one of the biggest games of the season against the Warriors. We saw what happened last game against the Warriors. We had to leave the game early, and they lost. If the Warriors win this game, they have the tiebreaker. Start the game, Golden State comes out better and firing from three, and it lasted the entire game. You had Reeves starting by guarding Steph Curry, and he was guarding Steph most of the game. Jackson Hayes, of course, was starting in place of Anthony Davis. He was in drop coverage, and you just started to see what makes the Warriors great. Their off-ball movement, all the special stuff you see, the split action, the Steph Curry off the ball, the flare screens, everything, and just they make you play defense when you don't. You're not guarding the ball. You have to stay attentive. You have to stay locked in. There's a couple times right when Brandon Pajimski checked into the game, he's cutting off the ball. Laker players are falling asleep. On the other side, it's stagnant. It's pick and roll. It's ISO like every other team in the league. Golden State, despite the fact that some of the young guys tend to hold the ball a little bit longer, they still have the motion principles when they've got the Splash Brothers out there. And in this game, I believe they started the Splash Bros because I turned the game on 4 minutes into it. They did. It was Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond, Wiggins, and instead of Looney, that's the old starting lineup. Instead of Looney, Trace Jackson Davis. They've had a bunch of different starting lineups this year, Golden State. But Jonathan Kuminga started this game on the bench, and so did Brandon Pajimski. But I'll tell you who made the biggest difference in that first quarter. Brandon Pajimski and Trace Jackson Davis. These two rookies came in and were everywhere defensively. Trace Jackson Davis was blocking shots at the rim. It looks like their only form of rim protection. Of course, Draymond Green is still super good on the back line as that low man. He's one of the best rotators I've ever seen play the game. But Trace Jackson Davis gives him a level of athleticism that they don't have. You know, this team does not have a 7-footer on the roster. So having somebody that can go up and block shots, that really helps at this point. It helps any team, but it really helps this old Warriors team. Now, the Warriors were 7 for 9 in the first quarter from three, and they would stay hot the entire game. Steph Curry came off a flare screen for a 4-point play that Austin Reeves hit him on. LeBron, before he checked out of the game, 7 for 10, from in the first quarter for the Warriors from three. But LeBron threw the ball away, and it was punished on the other end by, I believe, a Pajimski 3 before he came out of the game. And then he got lost guarding him. Pods had 10 points in the first quarter. 10 points in the first quarter right when he came in. Trace Jackson Davis had 5 points and 2 blocks in the first quarter. And Klay Thompson had 8 points right away in the first quarter with 2 threes. And he would have a fantastic game, a vintage Klay game. Just coming off screens, knocking down shots, working quickly off the catch. And at the same time, the Lakers were going cold. Rui Hachimura was not really hitting shots in that first quarter. He was 2 for 8 in that first quarter. And Cam Reddish came in and was just kind of doing cardio. He was cold, wasn't much of a presence defensively, couldn't do much of the point of attack against Chris Paul, who was doing his classic CP3 stuff, wheeling his way to that right elbow for that fall away jump shot. Now, here's what I'll say about CP3. His plus minus looks really good. I thought he has good minutes, but he still is such a weird fit with this team. Like everything that they do is so not Chris Paul. Their off-ball movement, how quickly they work. It's just when Chris Paul gets the ball, he first of all, he just kind of spaces the floor. He stands around. Warriors fans, let me know how what he's been like in terms of when he's spotting up, catching and firing right away without hesitation, because he sometimes has the James Harden thing where he passes up the open three and puts the ball on the floor because he's not really used to it. He's so used to being the guy that kicks it out to those guys for catch and shoot threes instead of taking it. And he has a slower release, so defenders have a tendency to recover. But how's he been with this team doing that? Because I've seen him space the floor at times. You know, that's what he does because he's not an off-ball mover. And when he tries to set these off-ball screens, it's so funny, just waddling up to set the screen. He just doesn't do anything that they do. He's just kind of another guy that they can give it to be a trigger man when they do their off-ball actions and to run some pick and rolls, because you're always going to have to run pick and rolls, and he's good for that. And he'll take care of the ball, and that's exactly why they got him, because they turn the ball over too much. But second quarter started off with LeBron in attack mode. And by the way, the score at the end of the first quarter was 38-29 Warriors. The second quarter started off with LeBron in attack mode. Got to the rim a couple of times, created some good shots for other people by drawing help. And you saw some Gabe Vincent in this game, and he came in that second quarter and had some really solid D on CP3, trailing him in the pick and roll, forced 2 misses, and the Lakers were able to get it within 5. But Andrew Wiggins then hit 2 threes. One of them was just a pull-up 3, and LeBron missed 4 straight shots, and just like that, the lead went back up to 12. As far as some defensive schemes, the Lakers, you know, as you would expect, as they always do, try to put Steph Curry in the action a lot, and Steph Curry was showing and recovering most of the time until later in the game when the Warriors were going small with Draymond at the 5. But in the beginning, first, I want to say 2.5 quarters, they were having Steph just hedge on LeBron and then recover. Jackson Hayes was someone who was working hard. You know, he's not really much of a rim protector in the sense that, you know, he's going to go up and get some blocks, but he's not that big. You know what I'm saying? Let's see how tall Jackson Hayes is. Wow, he's listed at 7 feet. Well, I don't know. Maybe his timing is not that great. He's just not that strong, but he'll still get some blocks here and there. He had 1 block in this game. I thought he was active. He's always active, always going to commit fouls. You know that about Jackson Hayes. But when Jackson was out of the game, the Lakers didn't play Castleton. They instead went with Rui at the 5, and the Dubs responded with Draymond at the 5. And one thing I talked about early in the season and throughout the season was Chris Paul and Draymond on the court feels pretty redundant because CP3 was brought into this team to be a trigger man. Draymond is the trigger man. CP3 is not really an off-ball player. You can use him sometimes as just an off-ball spacer, but ideally, you know, when you have Chris Paul running pick and roll or hitting Steph on the trigger, what's Draymond doing? You know, it's just setting some screens here and there, but teams are going to still let Draymond shoot. But you know what's changed this season? Draymond Green's been shooting the ball well. So now you can play Chris Paul, Draymond, and Steph together. And speaking of Draymond Green shooting the ball well, this game was no different. I mean, the guy was, I believe, I don't remember if it was 4 for 4 from 3 to start the game or 5 for 5 from 3 to start the game. But in the first half, by halftime, the Warriors were 15 for 22 from 3. 15 for 22. Draymond was 5 for 5 from 3 at halftime. And Steph was 3 for 3 from 3 at halftime. And Pods was 2 for 2 from 3 at halftime. I mean, it was just ridiculous. There was a lineup with Dre at the 5 alongside CP3, Wiggins, GP2, and Steph. And as I said, you know, the Warriors play their style. They're off ball, they're motion. Lakers play iso ball. And when the Warriors went small and trying to switch everything, Lakers go to Rui in the post, go to LeBron. Warriors double. They do a really smart job doubling, and they didn't really take advantage. There were once or twice where LeBron didn't go to work quickly enough, thought he didn't make the quick pass. He kind of waited. And yeah, it was just they didn't do a very good job taking advantage of it. Warriors went up by 17 after a Curry 3. LeBron then had a Shaqtin' a Fool pass where he thought Rui Hachimura was in the corner and he threw it out of bounds. That will definitely show up on Shaqtin' a Fool. And luckily for the Lakers, they were able to stay within striking distance because Austin Reeves hit 2 deep threes to end the half. So they were only down 71-60 at halftime. Now, when you look at that first half of the Lakers statistically, they shot 41% from 3, 40 from the field. Rui Hachimura shot 2 for 11. D'Angelo Russell only shot 6 times, and he did have 5 assists, though. But you would like to see him be a little bit more active. Now, with the Lakers, right, they played 9 guys. Of those guys that played, 4 of them are guards. Jackson, you can argue 5 with Cam Reddish. I think Cam Reddish is a guard, but I can consider him a wing in the NBA. That's a pretty small team. Now, what's the answer? I mean, who else do they have? Do you think, Laker fans, let me know in the comments, do you think they should have played Castleton? I think Max Christie definitely should have gotten a look. Remember, Vando's out. Anthony Davis is out. Christian Wood is out. I think you definitely could have given Max Christie some time, especially considering your point of attack defense wasn't very good in this game. D'Lo did not have a very strong defensive game. LeBron in the first 3 quarters I thought was non-existent defensively. Just not much defensive effort, in my opinion, for the Lakers. I mean, I wouldn't say it was like no defensive effort, but it wasn't good enough for the occasion, in my opinion. You know, with the Golden State Warriors, you're going to have to be in constant communication. You have to be great in transition. You have to be attached off the ball. And I just think it was whatever in this game from the Lakers in that department. And it just tells you, and we knew this, without Anthony Davis, it's a totally different ball game defensively. It is. Totally different ball game. Now, third quarter, LeBron at times was being guarded by Klay. Throughout the game, the Warriors liked Kuminga guarding him. But even if Kuminga was guarding him, LeBron and the Lakers would try to get Klay on the switch. And LeBron was making some things happen. And I thought that this game, the only reason the Lakers were really in it, LeBron and Austin Reeves. They were getting to the basket. They were making plays. And as the third quarter went on, it became Draymond at the 5 and Rui at the 5 again. Small ball versus small ball. And it's kind of funny that both LA games tonight became small ball versus small ball. Spencer Dinwiddie, however, was not switching on to Curry at first. He was hedging and recovering. And at one time, they took advantage with Gary Payton in the short roll. And after that, they switched. So here's the thing, though. In this game, Steph Curry, I wonder how many times he touched the ball, because he didn't actually touch the ball that much. He did not have that many on-ball reps with him. The Lakers, of course, tried to do the best job they could of denying. But credit to the Warriors' other guys. They stepped up. The Jonathan Kumingas getting to the foul line. Brandon Pajimski coming off the bench. CP3 coming in and handling the ball. Gary Payton playing well and doing well in the short roll. Klay Thompson having that, being the high scorer, being able to do that. Steph Curry only shot 9 times, but he made all 6 of his threes. I mean, the guy, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, and everything still revolves around him. That's the way Steve Kerr wants him to play basketball. But as far as the Lakers and the way they were playing basketball, a lot of LeBron and Austin Reeves linking up, finding each other in transition, finding each other open for shots. A 10-0 run, though, to close the quarter for the Warriors when the Lakers had a 3-guard lineup with Gabe Vincent, Spencer, and D'Lo without Reeves and LeBron. And that's really when the game started getting out of hand, was when the Lakers went without Reeves and LeBron, had that 3-guard lineup. And we saw a lot more 3-guard lineups in this game, which reminded me of last season and early this season from Darvin Ham. Gabe Vincent alongside any combination of Spencer, D'Lo, and Reeves, just those 4, 3 of them playing with each other. And Cam Reddish, he didn't even play in the second half, which tells you that Darvin Ham really wasn't impressed with what he saw in that first half. Actually, he did. He played 1 minute and 26 seconds. But I don't even remember if that was garbage time or not. Clearly, he wasn't very impressed with what he was doing. So that 10-0 run to close the quarter really hurt. I think it starts with D'Lo just not playing well. You needed D'Lo to be good. He's been fantastic, in my opinion, since he's been put in the starting lineup. But he wasn't good enough in this game. And you have to say, in big games, there's still a huge question mark about D'Angelo Russell. There really is. and he didn't look like he wanted any part of the ball at times. He didn't look like he was being aggressive in the pick and roll. And that small ball, the Warriors, when Kuminga got those smaller guys on him, he went right up over the top. Just not enough resistance for the Lakers. And it's so much dependent on Anthony Davis defensively. Really is. We know that. But yeah, that 10-0 run was tough because the Lakers just went cold from three and they didn't have much resistance on D. And at the same time, CP3 was doing some really good things in pick and roll, and Klay Thompson was playing great. In the third quarter, Klay Thompson had 7 points on 50% shooting. Gary Payton had 6 points. CP3 had 4 points and 3 assists. And the Warriors shot 57% from the field and 50% from three. At the same time, the Lakers started shooting better, though, in that quarter. Rui had 7 points on 75% shooting, and so did LeBron, 7 points on 75% shooting. Spencer Dinwiddie had 6 points in that quarter as well. Lakers shot 52% from the field and 37.5% from three in the quarter, a quarter in which the Warriors outscored the Lakers 35-29. So they were up, I believe it was 106-89. Yes. No. 106-89. That's right. Warriors were up. At this point, I did not think the Lakers were going to win. Of course, they did not have Anthony Davis, and LeBron looked a little bit under the weather, but I still thought LeBron looked really good. And in the fourth quarter, he started playing defense. There was one time he pressured Klay Thompson when he had the ball in his hands and forced a turnover, a bad pass. And to start the fourth quarter, there was the 3-guard lineup of Gabe Vincent, Austin Reeves, and D'Lo. And there was a 9-0 run led by LeBron and Austin Reeves. And it was with Curry and Draymond out of the game. And you saw LeBron start out with a deep post up, handing it off to Jackson Hayes for a dunk. Then he scored again on the turnaround over Klay Thompson, had 2 assists. You started seeing him run pick and roll with Reeves to get Klay Thompson on the switch after a Jackson Hayes pin down. That was some good stuff. And then you started to see LeBron at the 5 versus Draymond at the 5. And the Lakers had LeBron, D'Lo, Reeves, and then Rui with one of Gabe Vincent or Spencer. And then the Warriors had Steph, CP3, Kuminga, and Wiggins with Draymond at the 5. And I would say, when you look at the Warriors lineup, Kuminga, Wiggins, and Draymond, that's when a lot of things have started to turn for them this season, is when they've given those 3 guys more minutes together, because you've gotten your 3 best defenders out there on the court. And then you have Steph and CP3, who are very good in their own right. Of course, Steph Curry, one of the best players in the world. Now, with the Lakers, D'Lo, not a great defender. Not a good defender, really. Austin Reeves has been playing great defense lately. Gabe Vincent, he's been playing good defense in this game. I thought he was good defensively in this game, but offensively, 0 for 3, 0 points in 15 minutes, and he was minus 14. He's just been way too injured this season. I don't know if I would play him. And what's the point? Like, that's why getting Spencer Dinwiddie was so weird. I don't know if they can play all 4 of these guards. I just don't think there's enough room for them, because you also use LeBron as a point guard. So, like, I don't know if Gabe Vincent holds much significance here. It's going to be too small at times. However, with Anthony Davis, things change. But it's weird. I think Max Christie should be getting playoff minutes. And Cam Reddish, I'm not sure. Darvin Ham has done a poor job managing this, to me, off the bench. He has. And Darvin Ham, I will say this. LeBron has been pretty damn good this season. For a year 21 guy, yeah, he still has had his games where he's not been great. He hasn't looked like he's tried much defensively, of course. But I think he's honestly been better about that than last season. I think that he has been healthier than last season, in part, even though he still struggled with his fair share of like nagging injuries this season. AD's had his best regular season since 2020. I would go as far as to say that LeBron and AD have both had their best regular season since 2020. D'Lo's been really good. Reeves has been good. I think the West has just been really good. The Lakers are just older. Your second best player is 39. Like, I think LeBron's the 11th best player in the NBA. I said that before the season. He might be a little higher, actually, but he was 11th on my list. In the playoffs, he's higher than that, for sure. Because just playoffs, he's a beast. I mean, he has the experience. But throughout the regular season, regardless of what happens this time around, the Lakers need to reevaluate next season how to approach the regular season. And it probably is going to take a 3rd star, because they just don't have enough in the regular season to get a high seed. They've been in the play-in every year since the fucking bubble title. Every year. And D'Lo and Reeves have been good, but I have to say Darvin Ham, I think he has cost them from being in like the 6 or 5 territory. I really do. It's been a couple those games where D'Lo wasn't starting, where Prince was playing so much of the regular season as a starter. It was just very questionable in my opinion. So he's gonna have to take some accountability for that. Overall, the Laker players, I think all of them have been as good or a little better than expectation. I mean, let me know, Laker fans, which players. Christian Wood, of course, has been a little bit of a disappointment, but that's also someone that Ham's underutilized. I would let you put in the comments, Laker fans, who you think has been a disappointment this season for you from an individual perspective for them. Now, Lakers did make a little push, but CP3 did some good things to offset that, to withstand that. GP2, that when he was making threes and then Draymond had that block and then GP2 had that block. By the way, that GP2 block where LeBron didn't get back on D. Again, that's the type of shit that infuriates me about LeBron. That shit just is. How much do you want it, bro? Like, seriously, how much do you want it? I know the game was already over. That's what you fucking losers are going to say. Like, the game was already over. Like, no, okay, sure. You're supposed to be the GOAT. Like, get back on D. Come on, man. The game's in the balance here. You're playing at home. These fans paid a lot of money for these tickets. You're complaining with the ref. I don't know. Gary Payton, 2 threes. Huge. GP2 and big defense. The Warriors, when they play the right guys, their defensive personnel is not as bad as you think. Kuminga, GP2, Wiggins, Draymond. And Draymond's still a great defender. He's just a nutcase. CP3 is always going to give you his best, by the way. And also, I want to say, CP3 was trying his best when he was switching on LeBron. He was trying his best. And Steph didn't really get abused much tonight, I don't think. They tried him. They tried to go at him in the pick and roll. I thought he held his ground pretty nice. So, credit to the Warriors. What a huge win. The Lakers outscored the Warriors 31-28. But the Dubs just shot too well. Clay was so good. The defense was better. If these were the teams, this Warriors team, and this was the Lakers without Anthony Davis and Jared Vanderbilt, the Warriors are just a better basketball team. They're a better defensive team. They're a better offensive team. And in my opinion, LeBron played well. He did what he could. He could have played better defense in the first 3 quarters, in my opinion. But Rui Hachimura shot terribly. D'Angelo Russell was a ghost. Only Austin Reeves, LeBron, and Jackson Hayes, to me, did what they're supposed to do. Taurean Prince wasn't good enough. Cam Reddish was trash. Spencer Dinwiddie was fine. But to me, I don't know why the Lakers picked him up, honestly. He just takes the ball away from guys. And just feels like every time he gets the ball in pick and roll, he looks to just like get a foul and throw it up. And I don't know if I like his pick and roll reads. It doesn't seem like he makes the right read frequently. Let's read the stat lines. Warriors winning this one 134-120. They now own the tiebreaker with the Lakers and are half a game behind the Lakers. 44-35 for Golden State. They're 24-16 on the road. So last year, that was the whole thing. The Warriors could not win on the road. This year, they have smashed that with a great road record. The Lakers are done at home. They've played 42 home games due to the in-season tournament. They were 28-14 at home, which is pretty good. It's a pretty good record. On the road, though, they're pretty ass. 134-120, the Warriors. Let's read their stat lines first because they are the opposing team on this channel. This is an LA channel. So let's go with how many guys they played. Really just Kuminga, CP3, GP2, and Pods off the bench. So 9-man rotation. The guy that got the least amount of minutes was GP2, and I thought he was very effective with 9 points on 3 for 6 shooting and 2 for 3 from deep. Wow. Big time defensive plays. Got a big block. It's funny that GP2's 31 years old. It's wild. One of the best point of attack defenders they've got. He's only played in 44 games this season, which is just wild, and I think that's probably hurt them as well. He's shooting 35% from deep. So, not too bad. Solid game for him. Then you had Pods, who was really good, particularly in the first half. He only had 8 minutes in the second half. He had 13 points on 5 for 6 shooting and 3 for 3 from deep in 20 minutes of play. He also had 3 rebounds and 2 assists to go along with that. Jonathan Kuminga played 21 minutes, had 8 points, 6 boards, 3 assists, and a steal. No turnovers as well, but he didn't shoot well. 2 for 8 from the field, 1 for 3 from deep, 3 for 4 from the foul line in 21 minutes. Then for the starters who all played 25 minutes or more, Trace Jackson Davis played 25, and I thought he was good, especially in the first half. 7 points, 7 boards, 3 blocks. on 2 for 5 shooting, 3 for 5 from the line. Then you have Andrew Wiggins, who had a very good game, shot well, made some big threes in the second quarter, 17 points, 4 boards, 3 blocks on 7 for 12 shooting, 3 for 5 from 3. So shooting over 50% from the field and 3 for Wiggs in 29 minutes of play. And then you have Draymond Green, who had a very solid game, 15 points, 6 rebounds, 10 assists, and a block. And that doesn't go to show all the good defensive rotations he makes. All his shot attempts are threes, and he was 5 for 7, 0 for 2 from the foul line in 32 minutes of play. He was awesome. And then you had Klay Thompson, who for me was the player of the game. You know what? I'm going to go with Draymond, honestly. I thought his defense was good, but Klay Thompson's a good choice as well. 27 points, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block on 10 for 16 shooting, 5 for 10 from 3, and 2 for 2 from the line. He was a beast. And then Chef Curry, 23 points, 7 boards, 8 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks, 1 turnover, 7 for 9 from the field. That 1 turnover is big, by the way. Keep taking care of the ball. And a lot of that's because he was off ball so much. 7 for 9 from the field, 6 for 6 from 3 for the Chef. How about that? Absolute legend. Warriors shot 59% from the field and an astonishing 63% from 3, 26 for 41. That's like the old Warriors. Oh, man. Tough to beat them when they do that. 67% from the foul line, though, 14 for 21, so not great there. As for the Lakers, they shot 46% from the field. They shot 16 more shot attempts than the Warriors and 3 more free throw attempts, and they still lost by 14. Shot 34% from the three-point line. That 3 ball, that's really what won the Warriors the game. Lakers went 9 deep. Gabe Vincent had a donut in 15 minutes on 0 for 3 shooting. Again, I don't really know if he belongs in the rotation. Cam Reddish, 10 minutes, a donut. Don't really know if he belongs in the rotation. Taurean Prince, 19 minutes. I think he's actually been very good in his bench role. He was never a starter. 2 points, 1 for 6 from the field, 0 for 3 from deep. Didn't really do anything good in this game, to be honest. And then you had Spencer Dinwiddie, who had 12 points and 4 boards on 4 for 7 shooting and 3 for 5 from deep. I thought he was decent in 22 minutes, but again, I just don't get the point of him, really. He was good for when Gabe Vincent was out, but it's like now you got to choose, in my opinion. Starting 5 all played 28 minutes or more. Jackson Hayes had 11 points and 6 boards to go along with an assist, a steal, and a block. He did turn the ball over 2 times. The Lakers didn't actually turn the ball over much. Warriors turned the ball over twice as many times as the Lakers. Hayes was 5 for 6 from the field, 1 for 2 from the foul line. Had a nice alley-oop from D'Lo in the first half. Rui fought hard, but just didn't shoot well. 20 points, 11 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, no turnovers, 7 for 21 shooting, 2 for 7 from 3, 4 for 4 from the line in 31 minutes. And then you had D'Lo. What a bad game. 14 points, 2 boards, 7 assists, 3 for 11 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3, 6 for 6 from the line. Look, D'Lo's had a really good season, especially second half of the season, but all eyes will be on him in the playoffs because he didn't play well at the last hurdle last season. And when you play elite teams, all your flaws get exposed in the playoffs. And that's why I love it. And that's why, again, people need to stop devaluing rings because certain guys can succeed in the final stages of playoff basketball. You got to be able to adapt. You got to be able to be versatile. If you're not able to do what you're great at, how else are you affecting a game at the highest level? Separates a lot of guys from being in championship rotations and not. D'Lo shot 3 for 11 and 2 for 7 from 3. Wasn't a good game. Reeves fought hard. Had a pretty good game for me. 22 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, no turnovers too. 8 for 15 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3, and 2 for 3 from the line. I think he's been awesome, honestly. Best season of his career for sure. LeBron, he was the best tonight for the Lakers. 33 points, 7 boards, 11 assists, 2 steals, 4 turnovers, though. Bad defense for 3 quarters. And I didn't like how he didn't get back on that last play. He shot amazing, though. 14 for 22 from the field, super aggressive. 1 for 3 from deep, 4 for 5 from the line in 36 minutes. Look, it's a really bad loss for the Lakers. There's no sugarcoating it. And if we go to the standings, which I am going to do right now before we sign off here, we go to the standings, and I'm going to share the screen with all my viewers on YouTube right now to see it, so you can look exactly at what I'm looking at. We look at the standings. with just a couple games left in the season, and we see the Western Conference, the Golden State Warriors are half a game behind the Lakers. Now, at the same time, the Lakers are half a game behind the Sacramento Kings for the 8th seed. So there's a lot still to play for. 2 games behind the Phoenix Suns in the loss column for the Lakers, so a game and a half. The Pelicans are now 3 games in the loss column above the Lakers, 2.5 games overall. So it's looking like the Lakers are going to be in the play-in. Now, in terms of Dallas, they look like they've got the 5th seed on lock, but actually the Pelicans are still in that race with the 6th seed. They're only 2 games back. But it looks like the Lakers cannot get the 5 seed at all. The Sacramento Kings can also not get the 5 seed. The Phoenix Suns, they have 3 games left. Let's say they win all 3. I would have to check who has the tiebreaker between Dallas and Phoenix, but I would expect it to be Dallas. So it looks like the best Phoenix can do is get 6. It's looking like the Mavericks are going to get 5. And it's looking like we're going to get 4. Oh, my fucking God. Not again. Both teams have won 4 games in a row, but they're 9-1 in their last 10. You know what? I watched that game today. Not against Charlotte. I watched the Mavericks game against Sacramento. They did not impress me defensively like I thought they would. PJ Washington definitely helps. Daniel Gafford definitely helps. But when we're on it, man, I still think we're a better team. But I got to maybe watch more than one game. They couldn't stand in front of the point of attack, but they're also playing De'Aaron Fox, and we have nobody like that. Kyrie Irving's a problem, though. But it's going to be an amazing last couple of days of the season. And then when you look at the top, I'm not even going to talk about the East in this one because there's not really much of a need to. I did it on Basketball and Figueroa. Celtics, man, 62 wins. That's big time. But Minnesota and Denver are tied for the best record in the West with 55 and 24. The Thunder are 1 game behind them. So they have 1 more game against each other, and that will basically determine who's the number 1 seed in the West. We want Minnesota to win it because they'll be the 1st seed, but we honestly don't match up well with Minnesota at all. It's like a lose-lose either way. But what scares me is if the Lakers play Minnesota and beat them, we'd be playing the Lakers in the second round, and I don't want that. So the no home court advantage thing is going to be bad. Against Minnesota, we have a real home court. But I don't know. To me, it's fitting if Denver finishes first because they're the best team, and the Clippers pay for being the 4th seed and have to play Denver because the 4 seeds don't win chips. But we shall see. I'll be rooting for Minnesota to get it done because then maybe we can go to the conference finals. Then we can see see the Nuggets there. Anyway, before we end this episode, going to be checking in for a second with the LA Kings. We lost to the Anaheim Ducks tonight, even though we were on a 3-game winning streak. And when we look at the NHL playoff picture right now, we look at the Kings. They are, I have to stop sharing the screen with you guys on the NBA things. But we look at the Kings in the NHL standings. We're 3rd in the Pacific with 93 points and 4 games left. 41 wins, 26 L's, and then 11 overtime L's. The Golden Knights have played 1 less game than us, and they have 92 points. So it's getting very dangerous that they're right on our tails. Everyone is clinched except for 3 teams in the West. The St. Louis Blues, the Kings, and the Knights. All of who are fighting for, 2 more spots. 2 more spots. 1 wild card spot and the 3rd spot in the Pacific. I think we should be solid, but we shall see. It's going to get dicey. And guess what? I'm going to the game on Thursday. My first Kings game since before COVID. And you know what that means? We're getting our first ever hockey vlog on Dime Dropper. And you guys better tune into that because hockey games are electric. We're playing the Calgary Flames. It is going to be amazing. I get to see Anze Kopitar again and Drew Doughty. Anze Kopitar is the only LA athlete, I believe. I'd have to check when Clayton Kershaw first started playing for us. But he's the only LA athlete that I've been watching from my first days watching sports when I was a 7-year-old kid in 06 to now. He's still here playing. The GOAT, Kopi. So we'll be in the building, and it's my friend's first ever hockey game, so that's going to be an awesome experience. I cannot wait. I got a Wayne Gretzky jersey from the 90s that I have never rocked before. I cannot wait to wear it for the first time. It's going to be must-see TV. You guys better be there to see it because it's going to be electric. Now, before I sign off, the Dodgers were playing the Minnesota Twins in a series in Minnesota, and you know who's been red hot so far as a Dodger? Tyler Glass now with a capital L-A. Another amazing game for him. 14 Ks, no runs earned. A 6-3 win for your Dodgers with another home run from James Outman, who's been struggling to start the year. But the fact that he's had 2 games in a row with home runs, it's great. You can see his confidence going back up. And Will Smith has been absolutely on fire to start the year. 2 hits in this game, 2 runs, 3 RBIs, and a home run. It got a little dicey towards the end for the Dodgers. Alex Vesia and Connor Brogdon got it a little bit dicey with the Twins hitting a couple of homers, but ultimately we were able to get the win. And another great game for Tyler Glasnow. Shohei Ohtani, 5 at-bats in this game, just 1 hit, but he has really started to pick it up lately as well. Max Muncy, Chris Taylor, Gavin Lux, the guys at the bottom of the lineup, they need to start hitting better. But Tyler Glasnow is now 3-0. We've won 2 games in a row. I thought we were 11-4, but I guess we're 10-4. 10-4. Won 3 out of our last 4. Off to a solid start to this season. Keep on rolling. Mookie Betts is having a great year so far. Shohei's over 300 right now. And we move. One more game against Minnesota on Wednesday. But that's it for me in this one, guys. Now to the live subscribers waiting patiently in the chat. And guess what? We'll be live again tomorrow night because I'm not going to the game. Clippers Suns round 2. 1 hour episode of All Things LA Sports. You better have enjoyed it. And a little bit of a standings watch. Peace. Now to the live subscribers.